All right, so we were on number 6, talking about like finding the length of AB, writing the perpendicular bisector of AB. So determine the length of AB, that's on the formula chart. We just did that one, and we got that it was the square root of 80, which is the same thing as 4 times the square root of 5. Or was it 5 square root of 4? I think it was 4 times square root of 5. Okay. And then we were writing the equation of the perpendicular bisector. So 2 things you need to remember. For perpendicular is you have to find the slope. Whenever it says that something parallel or perpendicular, you got to find the slope. So the slope of AB is -2. So if the slope is -2, the perpendicular slope is going to be a positive because it has to be the different signs, and it's not going to be 2 over 1, it's going to be 1 over 2. So the slope has to be 1 over 2 for perpendicular. However, since it says bisector, we have to find the midpoint. Bless you, bless you.
Thank you.
So in order for something to be bisected, we have to find the midpoint. The midpoint of what? Midpoint of AB. So using midpoint formula, it's like I don't have much space on this paper, so using the midpoint formula, so I have -2, 8 and 2, 0. That's A, that's B. So my midpoint formula says I need to take x1 plus x2 and then divide it by 2 for my first coordinate piece of my coordinate, and y1 plus y2 over 2. So I'm going to add my x's together, -2 plus 2 over 2. And then I'm going to add my y's, 8 plus 0 over 2. So my midpoint is going to be -2 plus 2, that's 0 over 2, that's just 0. 8 plus 0 is 8 over 2, that's 4. So this is the midpoint. So if I have this midpoint and I know my slope has to be 1 over 2, how am I going to write an equation with that one? There's a couple different ways to do this. However, I'm probably going to use point slope form because that's the way that will always work. Because I have a point and I have a slope. And that's another formula that's on your formula chart. Point slope form is on your formula chart. Midpoint formula is on your formula chart. So my M, that's the slope. And then the Y value is a 4. Then the X value is 0. So I'm just going to start solving it out. I don't know which, it doesn't say what type of equation, it just says write an equation. So that's y minus 4 equals a half x, because I'm going to distribute a half times 0 is just 0. So I need to add the 4 back here. So this is my equation. This is the perpendicular bisector. And that's going to help us with letter B. All right. Letter C says write the equation of a line that's parallel. So if it's parallel, parallel to CD. So now we ask, well, we got to find the slope again. So the slope of CD, this was the slope of AB. If I want to find the slope of CD, I need to, I like finding the slope by putting it in a table. However, there is a formula on the formula chart that says the slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And once again, that's on the formula chart. But I like putting it in the table doing delta y over delta x. So I'm trying to find the slope of CD. That from -8 to -2 is a positive 6. Then from 3 to 7 is 4. So that's going to be 6 over 4. That has to be reduced because you're not going to find anything that's not reduced on the exam. So 6 over 4, you could put it in the calculator. Can you guys be doing this also along with me? You're not, like, you need to be working along with me. So 3 over 2 will be the slope for CD. The TEKS exam is a major grade, so y'all need to be paying attention here. So write the equation of a line that's parallel to CD. That means the slope is going to be 3 over 2. and passes through point B. So I know my slope has to be this one, and I know I have to use the point B, which is 2, 0. So once again, if you have a slope and a point, you're going to use point slope formula, which is also on the formula chart. So the slope is 3 over 2, and it's going to be x minus 2. Did I do the other one right? Yeah. And then y minus 0. So from here, you got a little bit of distributing to do. So I'm still on C right now. So I got y minus 0 equals 3 over 2x minus, so now I got to multiply 3 over 2 times 2, or negative 2. So that's going to be 6 over 2. Can you guys multiply that out and make sure you would get the same thing if this was your exam? Yeah, so the whole point of following along with the video or watching the teacher give notes is so you can input it along with the teacher, so then you can see if you would get the same thing. Because sometimes just staring at it, like, that doesn't help you to know if you would have got the same thing. So, and plus, sometimes I need help. What if I make a mistake and then nobody helped me? There's 15 people in here. Y'all can help. Okay. So I think that should be 3. Let me know if it's wrong. Then it's just minus 0. I mean, you can add 0 to the other side if you need to, but there's no need to do that. So that would be my equation. That is parallel to CD and passes through point B. Parallel lines have the same slope. So the same slope, I use the exact same slope because parallel has exact same slope. So then D and E, D is the same thing that we just did on B. So try to use your information to do D just like we did B. And then if point E is located here, what is the midpoint of AE? So D and E you're going to be doing yourself. All right. Okay, so you should have did D and E yourself. E was the easier one because I saw a lot of people, they did get 5, negative 4. D, the answer should have been y equals negative 2 over 3 x, because it's your slope, minus 23 over 3. And yeah, that was a fraction back there. So be careful when you do those. So. Number 7, it says given angle A, B, and C. Okay, they gave me an angle. It says draw BD so that it bisects ABC. And BE so that it bisects. Okay, so we're drawing 2 different rays here. So BD is the first one, and it must bisect ABC. So I'm just going to draw it however this. If it bisects it, what does that mean? It cuts it in half. So that's BD, and it's going to make this side congruent to that side. And then it says draw BE so that it bisects CBD. So then it's like we have another one right here. And I'm just going to use a dotted line for that one, so hopefully I don't get it confused. And that's E so that it bisects this angle right here, and that one right here will be congruent. So EBC will be congruent to EBD, angle EBD. EBC is congruent to angle EBD. The measure of EBC, so now if I actually take the number, whenever it says measure of, that means it wants a number. Because some people, they were just putting something it was congruent to, so be careful. So EBC plus what will give me the full ABC? What would it be? EBC plus what? EBA, yeah. EBA. Or you could have put ABE. And that will give me the full ABC. So 2 measures of what gives me ABC? So when ABC was cut in half, there's 2 measures of A, B, D. And the measure of ABE is less than what? So ABE is less than the full. I would say ABC. Yeah. And a third of ABE. I don't know that one. What'd you get? So, because we took ABC and we cut it in half, so that's half and half. So they're asking for a third of ABE. And it looks like it says it's DBE. So a third of ABE. To me, that's kind of weird, but that's what it says. All right, number 8. Given PB and BJ are collinear segments, B is between P and J. Remember what between means. It means it's somewhere in between them. It doesn't have to be a midpoint. It's just somewhere in between. So PB is 12 units and PJ is 36. Draw a diagram for this information and determine if each statement is true or false. I think that one I'm going to have you do on your own at the end, maybe, if we have time, or maybe just at home, and then I'll be able to give you answers just so you can see if it's right. Number 9 says use the diagram of J, K, D, and G below or over here to answer the following. So which lines are parallel? Yep, these little things means they're parallel. Good. Which lines are perpendicular? Perpendicular means it must form a right angle. Perpendicular lines, come on, this should be a quick part. K and D, yes, because of the 90 degrees, good. Which lines are transversals of the pair of parallel lines? So if these are parallel, there's 2 of them that are transversals. Which one would that be? K and J. So J is a transversal and K is a transversal of the parallel lines. Which angles are equal to 90? Which angles are equal to 90? Do you see where that right angle is? There's a right piece of a right angle? Yeah, I know. I'll send it after this class is over, if that's fine. Okay, hopefully. Sorry. Which angles are equal to 90? You need to look for the little square, the little right angle. So there's a whole bunch of them that are equal. All of these right here are equal, and all of these. Can't hear you. Angle 7? Yes. Which also means angle 5 and 6 and 8. All of these are 90. And 13, 14, 15, and 16, all of those are also 90. Okay? Which of these angle pairs are congruent adjacent angles? Adjacent means they are next to each other. Congruent means they are the same. So you'll figure that out. Which of these angle pairs are congruent but not adjacent? Remember the ones that are congruent but not adjacent? Not adjacent means they can't be, like 9 and 10, those are adjacent. 1 and 2 are adjacent. So be careful. We're looking for congruent but not adjacent. And for this, you have to be thinking of AIA, AEA, SSIA, and SSEA. And then also CP. If that, no, it's CA, sorry. Corresponding angles, then there's VA, vertical angles, then there's LP. That's what I was looking for, linear pair. So all of these, that's what you need to be thinking of when you look at this. All right. Which of these angles are congruent supplementary? What does supplementary mean? Supplementary means it equals 180. And the supplementary ones are the SS, SS. Those are the supplementary, are the SS. Which statement is not true? They said no? Okay, good. Thank you. All right. Which statement is not true? You have to do some thinking about that one. Because you have to know which ones are SSIA, SSEA, if they're equal in 180. So suppose angle 10 and, I'm sorry, the measure of angle 10 is 50. Determine the other angle measures. So they're telling you if angle 10 is 50, which one, angle 11 would be what? Okay, good. These are vertical angles, which means they should be equal. What about way up here at angle 2? What would that one be? If angle 10 is 50, that one would be a corresponding angle. Corresponding angles are congruent. So angle 10 and 2 would also be the same. Then angle 4. Angle 4, what would you do to find it? Angle 2 and 4 are linear pair. And if something's a linear pair, what does that mean? They have to add up to what? 180. All right. All right, so this little statement down here is the same thing. If you are getting confused with AIA, AEA, CA, SSIA, and VA, you got to go back and look at some old notes, or you can Google it. Two parallel lines cut by a transversal. Hold on, these ones aren't really parallel. These ones are not parallel, so you can just Google 2 lines cut by a transversal and then see what it tells you. You have to try to think back and dig deep in your brain to remember that one. This one down here, the following sets of angle measures within a triangle. Classify each of them by its angles. So you're going to have 2 words for each of these. You're going to be telling me whether it's scalene, isosceles, equilateral, or obtuse, right, or equal angular. All right? And that one, again, that's a Google search. What does scalene mean again? I don't know. What is isosceles? I don't know, okay? So it's 8 o'clock. I told you I would stop at 8.